Welcome to the Wild Remedies podcast. I'm your host, Christopher Ancora, and I'm here to bring you captivating stories from some of the most fascinating people I've connected with on my own journey of physical, mental, and spiritual well-being. So sit back, relax, and get ready to be inspired. What is up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the Wild Remedies podcast. Today is, I love this podcast today, mostly because we get into my astrology chart a little bit. It's a really fun one, though. So we are chatting astrology with Vika Bradford. I love the way that she approaches astrology. It is a lot different than what I've seen before. She focuses on something called Karmic Astrology. So instead of kind of like all the love and light woo-woo stuff that some people tend to focus on, she is looking at some of like the darker patterns that we have in our charts that are our lessons and things that we need to go through in this life. And if you're new to astrology, she is going to break it down to let you know exactly what it is, how it works. And yeah, like I mentioned, we're going to go through my chart a little bit because I thought it would be a cool way to sort of show people how it relates and what an astrology reading is like. So for me, the things that she had mentioned, I was like, oh my God, like we literally just talked about this exact thing before we got on the call. So yeah, you'll see how it really does we talk about permission slips, like how it gives you permission slips to really recognize and embody the patterns and things in your life that you're already noticing. Astrology also can really help guide your purpose and what you're here to do. So this one should be really cool. And just a little bit more about Vika before we get into it. She's an energy healer, an astrology practitioner. She's also studied yoga, and she is a cosmic shaman ruled by Pluto, which apparently I am too. And it's kind of like a struggly planet. You'll hear all about it in the episode. It's a good one. She began her journey to healing through her own struggles with suicidal thoughts, depressions, and panic attacks. Oh my God, same. No wonder we have like the same Pluto thing going on. But she has since healed herself deeply with her body and her soul. She recognizes that healing is a lifelong journey, and she set out to harness and teach the tools that have continued to calm her soul. So through her powerful astrology readings, energy healing, and shaman work, she helps people embody their cosmic signature and begin to bring the non-physical down to earth. Her focus with her work is on deep transformation, transmuting shadow to light, and helping people to own their authentic cosmic rhythm. All right. So let's get into this one, you guys. You're going to love it. Without further ado, let's meet Vika Bradford. Welcome, Vika. I am so pleased to have you on the podcast today. How are you?
So excited to be here. Thank you for having me. I'm good. I'm definitely like going through the motions. I think most of us are. Anyone listening to this, whenever you're listening to it, I'm sure you're going through the motions, but good in an all about way.
I think that's kind of the best we can hope for these days.
Yeah, like literally we're living in chaos. So like as long as we can pretty much look around and be like, we're good, then we're doing okay.
Yeah. It has felt exceptionally chaotic. I mean, I don't think a single person on the planet right now can be like, things are normal in this world at this point in time.
I'd like to meet that person if they exist and just be like, what reality do you live in?
Seriously. Oh my gosh. Well, I am so psyched to chat about astrology with you today. I feel like it's like most women's favorite subject and like most men's like biggest eye roll subject for some reason.
You're bang on money.
Seriously, like I don't know. I come across this all the time where guys are like dogging astrology and I'm just like, where did this come from? Like it's kind of silly to me. Like there is so much history behind it. Like, why don't you give us just, a quick explanation about what astrology actually is?
Totally. And I actually love that you said that because I think like what happens with with guys is they want like the tangible science behind things, right? Like they want it to be linear. Whereas the way pop astrology has been presented to the world is that it's very esoteric and feminine in that it isn't like tangible or factual, right? But when we actually go into astrology, it's the blend of science and art, right? It's both. And so it actually is masculine and feminine. So I think that's where most males have missed out on the actual, science behind the artistry. So when we're tapping into astrology, like it is that blend of science and art, right? It's the science and craft of how the planets are moving, what the planets are doing, how the planets are interacting with each other, and not just the planets, obviously all cosmic bodies, and how they're interacting with, our own personal birth charts, experiences, energies. If we could just like break it down into a linear, logical fashion for a second, we all know that vibration is real, right? Like we can't deny that. If we look at science, vibration is real. We know that we are vibratory beings. We can't deny that. Again, quantum physics is all right there. The planets have vibrations. Earth has a vibration, right? Like the sun has a frequency. Everything has a frequency. And so we are like interacting with that frequency. And so each planetary body doing a thing is causing a ripple effect in the frequencies. And I think that's really where we can understand why we are impacted by the cosmic bodies. So astrology is really just the study of how those frequencies, vibrations, energies are working and interacting at any point in time. Does that break it down?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And I had somebody explain it interestingly to me once where it was like, okay, so we visibly see how the moon affects the entire ocean with the tides.
Totally.
And human beings are like, what are we, like 70, 80% water? 90%?
Like 90.
Yeah, like a lot. Like we're basically just water.
We're just water. We're just, what is it? Cucumbers with anxiety? That's the, that's the meme that will always live with me.
I love that. But yeah, like to think that, what is happening up in the heavens, especially when it comes to the moon, right? And like we see this too with, my mom is a nurse, for example, right? And she's just like, shit gets wild on a full moon. Like she doesn't, she's not totally into this stuff, but like she
but you can't deny it.
Yeah. I mean, like paramedics, like police,
bars.
All of these. Yeah.
Bars. I used to bartend, and the full moon every month we'd be like, it's a full moon tonight.
Buckle up.
And it would just get crazy. Every time you'd get the wildest situations where you'd just be like, nothing else could explain this but like the heightened emotional energy of the full moon.
Yeah. Wild.
It's wild.
Oh my God. Okay. And so when you're doing like astrological readings, you're reading off of somebody's birth chart, right? So this is kind of like the energetic imprint that we come in with.
Totally. And so I call it like, personally, you can call it whatever you want, but the language I use is like a soul blueprint or like, your cosmic blueprint. And it's like in my view of the things as a karmic astrologer, I see it as like when we're up in the ether and we're like deciding to incarnate, I believe that we choose our soul blueprint very intentionally, not just like how we're sort of going to express our personality, but also the transits we're going to go through, right? Like putting a lot of stuff here, like, okay, you're going to have these specific difficult transits for your life that are going to be your growth processes. So it's such a multidimensional thing, but yeah, I would call it like the soul blueprint of like you and how you're going to experience life on Earth.
Yeah. I think about that often, and sometimes I just like curse my higher self. And I'm just like, why? Why did you choose this for us?
Every day. I'm like, really? Like in my chart, I chose a lot of Plutonian energy. And for anyone listening, Plutonian energy is very oh, it's intense, it's destructive, it's transformative, it's the like death rebirth process, right? So I came in with a heavy dose of that in my actual personality. And then like I chose to incarnate where I will never not be experiencing a Plutonian transit in my life. Like I'm going to die in a Pluto transit. When you look at my chart, I'm just like, I chose this. Like I chose every minute of my life to be death and rebirth. Like, and
Oh,
I look up
wild.
and I'm like, really? This is what we're doing here.
Oh, wild. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Okay. So a lot of challenges.
Yeah. And like, that's totally my process. And it is it's exactly what I look at. I'm like, I know why we're doing this. But yeah, like if you don't know, for instance, that's the magic of astrology. If I didn't know that, like I didn't a long time ago, life feels like painful or like it's hard, it's challenging. And you're just like, why do I keep having these dark nights of the soul? Whereas now I'm like, okay, here we go again. Yep, we're going to do this
Mhm.
and get stronger.
Yeah, absolutely right. I feel like that's where you can really find grace in your life is when you understand like the inner workings of what you were meant to do here.
Yeah.
And, you know, life is duality. Like it's never going to be simple, right? Like we need to have the lows in order to appreciate the highs. And if you can figure out a way, you know, to navigate these lows with some grace, it sure makes things a lot easier. I mean, like it's still shitty, but
Mhm.
you don't have to be through. I always use the analogy of throwing because like I before I kind of became awake to like what else was happening in the universe. There was a lot of self-sabotage. And I always refer to like throwing yourself on the bathroom floor, sobbing hysterically with a bottle of wine kind of thing. I feel like I've graduated from that just to being able to like sit and like maybe do some breath work and just be like, okay, this too shall pass. Rather than just
Yeah.
being like, everything is horrible and everything is happening to me and I have no control over anything, you know?
100%. I call that like the observer, right? Like, and I've been in that so much lately of just like my process of life right now. And I'm just like, everyone's like, how are you? And I'm like, you know what? I'm good. I'm just observing. I'm
Mm.
just kind of like watching the chaos of my experience right now happen and unfold without any emotional attachment to it because I'm like, okay, this I know why I'm going through what I'm going through based on my astrology, my transits, my energy. And so I'm just like, okay, we're doing this and it's okay. Whereas, 10 years ago, I would have been a basket case.
Yeah.
Right. I would have been, I stopped drinking a while ago, but like, I mean, I would have been near close to that bottle of wine on the bathroom floor, like just to completely zoning out, avoiding, escaping, just not to experience the intensity of Earth right now.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad you mentioned the Pluto thing because I want to come back to that. I saw a post that you had made a little while ago, so I'm curious. But one quick question that I have before I want to learn about what a karmic astrologer is.
Yeah. Okay.
Um,
So, yeah.
but wait, before you get into that,
Okay.
what's the difference between Vedic and tropical chart?
Okay, so there's like so many different lenses of astrology. There's Vedic, which reads in sidereal, and then there's tropical, and then there's draconic. There's this, there's that. There's so many.
Oh, there's so many.
There's
Okay.
so many, and they're all like I don't really understand how I haven't delved into draconic enough to know how they read, but it shifts everything too. But tropical is like the traditional astrology, we grew up with, typical, we both have suns in Virgo, da 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 da. What actually is happening in the sky with tropical, and it's very interesting because I'm exploring this like within my own realm right now. In tropical astrology, it's almost like they froze the sky thousands of years ago.
Right.
Okay, so the planets are actually not in the constellations we say they're in. So right now, for instance, the sun is in Virgo. It's not actually in the constellation of Virgo. The sun is actually in the constellation of Leo right now.
Well, I just looked that up before we
Yeah.
got on because I was like, I just want to have my chart up just in case I need to make a little reference because I don't have it memorized. And I'm
Mhm.
looking at the Vedic one, and it's like, it's saying here that my ascending is Virgo and that my sun is Leo and my moon is Aquarius. And I'm like, what is happening? Like,
What
my
is
entire identity is like shattered.
Yeah, so that's the thing. Okay, so like tropicals, like they froze the sky in Hellenistic times, essentially. Okay, and then sidereal is the sky is actually what it is right now. So in sidereal astrology right now, the sun is in Leo because the sun is actually in the constellation of Leo. Now there's so many theories on like. I don't believe there's a right or a wrong here. I believe it's all layers of our cosmic evolution. I think we're multidimensional. I think that's why we experience different things. And I think they all have validity. I think you find the one you're meant to find, and then you'll find another layer, and it's just another piece of your soul that you're like, shit. But when you first go into sidereal after, you're a Virgo, you're like me, I'm a Virgo sun, Leo moon. In my brain, when I go into sidereal, I'm a Cancer moon and a Leo sun. Okay, my Leo's still there. I'm like, yep, yep, yep. But then I'm like, Cancer, like mentally, I have a hard time with that because Cancer is actually a very wounded energy for me. So then, when I go deeper into it, I'm like, oh, it's actually like pretty legit. So it's just another layer of me. So when we're looking at all the different like layers and options and house systems and this and that, I don't think any of them are wrong. I think they're just different scopes of us. And that's basically like the simplest way to break it down.
Right. And then with Vedic, like, doesn't it also have something to do with like, so your chart would be your chart. So what we traditionally understand as like our tropical zodiac, it would still be that at the time of birth, but because like planets and stuff shift and move, like throughout time, it's kind of relating to that aspect. Is
I'm
that
not
right? Or am I
entirely
butchering
sure.
that?
I haven't
Okay.
studied Vedic at all. I just have delved into just reading the chart in sidereal, which is what Vedic uses. So I just know, yeah, personally, like Vedic uses a lot of beautiful medical astrology, which is, I think, wonderful and amazing. But other than that, I don't know much on how they read.
Gotcha. Okay. It's complicated. Well,
It
we're
is
going to
all of it, right?
say it is. It's very complicated. I mean, there really is a true science to this. And it's really interesting because when I first had my chart read, it was a Vedic reading. And then I learned about how that relates to like Ayurveda and all of these
Yeah,
things. And when you're seeing an Ayurvedic practitioner, they first do your chart. And I'm like, oh my God, that is so cool. I absolutely love that.
it's amazing.
Hmm. Okay. So karmic astrology. What is that?
Yeah. Okay. So a karmic astrologer, and I don't know if this was like a term before, I'm sure it was, but it's just what I started calling myself because when I started reading charts, like I was just automatically drawn to wounding and pain points and repeated patterns and Pluto and, these heavy hitters in the chart that aren't typically looked at. And I just kept being like, why do I have to keep going into like, why does my soul have to automatically go into like, oh, this hurts you and this hurts you and this psychological wounding lives here? And I noticed a pattern. So I started really going into like, is there a link between past lives and astrology? So that's what essentially a karmic astrologer is we're looking at past repeated situations, energies, soulmate connections, that you bring into this incarnation in order to like learn. So karma, when we really think about it, is like the experience of what are the cause and effect essentially, right? So like what happened in past lives is sort of what you came here to sort out is the theory of karmic astrology. So what I do is look at your birth chart to see why did you come here? Like why are you here? I'm looking at your purpose points, which are the more light and fluffy and enjoyable parts of a reading with me. Actually, not always, but most of the time, it's like, oh, we're looking at your destiny points. It's like, okay, that feels really good. But I'm also looking at those soul wounds of like, what did you actually come here to work through? Like, why do you keep doing this? Why do you feel these very deep pain points within your soul? Why do you keep attracting the same partner? Why do you keep doing the exact same thing over and over and over again? Right. So like, it's like soul therapy, but I can't use the word therapy. So that's really what my sessions are is like, we go into deep, deep wounding and destiny to understand why you're here.
Okay, I'm obsessed with all of that. Sounds amazing. Yeah. So I mean, I love the purpose aspect that you brought up. I feel I've really only had that one reading done, I think. So it'd be really cool to have another one. I'd love to book one with you. But the one that I had, it was, it was very enlightening. There were aspects that were very bang on. Like literally she told me, she was like, and she knew nothing about me at this point, but she was, this woman, she was like, you should be doing something in health, and it should be a product. It should be luxury. It should be beautiful. And it should
Look
be
at you
marketed
now.
to women. And I was like, what the fuck? I was like, how do you know this about me? At the time I had my first chaga tea product, but like, the packaging was beautiful and the whole thing. And it was, it was very much marketed for me. And so I was like, okay. And she's like, yeah, like, so you're doing your dharma. This is what you're supposed to be doing. And I was like, oh, okay, that feels really good. I've been doing this because, I've had all these mystical experiences and things. I'm following the breadcrumbs from the universe. And that, I think also really just solidified that for me as, okay, I guess this is the path that I need to take. Even though it's been really fucking hard, really hard. I always keep that in mind. And so it's really helpful to have that kind of information in your life.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely. And I love that because like, I feel like most of my readings and, when I work with my clients, my mentors, my students is like, it's mostly confirmation of what the soul already knows, right? And people come in and be like, oh, I felt like this my whole life. And I'm like, I know you have. And now I'm here to give you permission because clearly you need it to be your most authentic self. Like the thing with karmic astrology, with all astrology is like, you already know. It's just the universe has, or like not even the universe, the world, society has programmed you to think you can't be what you are. And so what I love about going into wounding and pain points and all the like deep, dark, gritty shadow work is like, that's also your purpose. We like to pretend like we can shove it all down in the dark and not talk about it or not, process our stuff and we'll be okay. But, and so many people focus on the light of astrology, right? Like oh, you're this and it's so exciting and la, la, la. But like your pain points are also your destiny, right? You came here to heal stuff within yourself. And often, those more exciting points, like, I look at the sun as a life school. And of course, your north node's your destiny or like your purpose point, or your midheaven being that highest point that you're looking toward, like to go toward. Those points are assisting in facilitating you healing yourself. Like, so the pain points are actually confirmation or assistance to help you on your path. It's all interconnected and we can't have one without the other.
Okay, that's wild. Okay, and that leads into my next question. I was wondering like how healing-based astrology works. And I think you just kind of explained it, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's like, it's complex in how, every person's different. So when I'm working with my clients, like I'm going into like the very psychological pain points. I'm going into the dark with my people. I'm taking them into the places they don't want to go. Although everyone who comes to me is ready to go there. Like I've never had a client be like, don't go into my wounding, but I'm going to take you into the places that provoke you because that's my job. And then from there, like when I'm working with healing, it's like, I like to take it down to earth. There Virgo comes in. I have a Virgo sun, Mercury, and Venus. And all my Virgo wants to bring everything down to earth, right? It wants to take all this esoteric knowledge and make it tangible for my clients. So it's like, let's bring it here and into your body. So we're looking at like, what are the practices that you can physically do? Whether that's a physical practice of like moving your body, taking herbs, eating differently, or journaling. Like all my clients are getting journal prompts like all the time. So it's like, how can we bring the stuff up there and in your birth chart into like a physical practice where it's not just, a birth chart on a screen or the cosmos above us. We're not just like disconnected from it and okay, Mercury's in retrograde. Well, like, what does that mean? And what can we do with that? Right. And I think that's where the healing comes in, is like the mental, the psychological, the spiritual, and then bringing it down to earth, the physical.
How did you discover astrology? Like, how did you get into all of this?
So it's kind of random. When oh gosh, what was it? 2014, I was dating a guy that just got me this book that I'll tell everyone in the whole world to read if you haven't. It's Astrology for the Soul by Jan Spiller. And it's all about the North Node. So he bought me this book. Someone had bought him for this book and he was like, you need to read this. So bought it for me. And it was the first point that wasn't, my sun sign that I had looked at. At that point, I didn't even know my moon sign. I didn't know anything, but I knew my North Node at that point. And I was reading this book being like, who the hell was following me around, writing a book about me for my whole life? And then presented it to me. And I was like, shit, all of my darkest shit just put on paper. And I was like, wow. So I kind of left it there for a while and I was just blown away, but that guided me to the healer's path. Okay. So I have my South Node is in Leo. My whole life, I wanted to be famous. I wanted to be seen. I wanted the world to be like, look how amazing that one is. I was famous for a while. I was a singer songwriter. I did the whole thing. I hated it.
Interesting.
And, my North Node being in Aquarius guided me I am the humanitarian. I'm the healer. I'm the usher in of the new age. I'm here to break the matrix. And I was like, oh, okay. So I sat on that for a while, became a yoga teacher, did my Reiki practitioner, got my master's, did this, became a crystal healer, la, 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 la. And in all of that, I was branding my yoga business and I found my first mentor through branding through astrology. So my friend, Brittany had connected me to my mentor, Daphna. And I just literally was there to brand my business. And I'm learning from her and I'm like, oh my God, this is the piece I've been looking for. This is the love of my life. So from there, I did my mentorship with Daphna Romanoff. She's amazing. And here I am.
Oh, that's such an awesome story. I love that.
It was super random and it was just literally the universe giving me stepping stones until I was ready. I think I needed all those other tools, I needed the yoga, I needed the Reiki, I needed the crystals, I needed all the embodiment stuff first before I got that final puzzle piece. And then it was there we go. Now you can do your work.
Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense, right? Making sure you have all the tools first, because if you found your love first,
I wouldn't have gone for the other tools.
Yeah.
Yeah. I wouldn't the way I'm so obsessed with astrology. I just study all day, every day. When I'm not working, I'm studying astrology. And if you had given me astrology first, I would never have done anything else because I don't want anything else.
Wild. Oh my gosh. Well, I mean, you're obviously very knowledgeable. And I love the twist that you put on this, right? By looking at all of these karmic traits. I wonder if it would be, I don't know, what are your thoughts? Because I feel it would be really cool. Would we be able just to pull up my chart maybe and just go through a couple of these things that you normally would with other people, just to kind of break them down, in particular, the Pluto placements, you mentioned that, and the nodes.
Yeah.
I don't know. I always find I don't know. I seem to get more out of it when I can hear it related to other people and see their reactions.
100%.
Okay, cool.
Okay, give me a birthday.
So it's September 9th.
Oh, you just had your birthday. Happy belated.
Thank you.
Okay, what year?
1984.
What time?
9 a.m.
9 a.m. Place.
Fort St. John, BC.
St. John.
Way up north.
Okay. September 9th, 9 a.m. Fort St. John. Okay. I like that you have 9 a.m. and you were born on the 9th. I feel like that's
a lot of nines going on.
Yeah, I've got a ton of nines in mine too, so that's super interesting. Okay, so you're a Libra rising too?
You are as well?
Yeah, I am.
That's cool.
Okay, you're 22. Yeah, I'm a 26-degree Libra rising. Okay, so you got Pluto in your first house too. Oh my gosh, of course we were supposed to talk. Okay.
Is this why I also have so many trials and tribulations in my life?
It is. Yes,
yay! I knew that this was going to happen.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. And you have your North Node in the eighth house. Okay. So I love that you pulled up your chart because this is like perfect, perfect example for everyone. Okay.
Oh,
So like
goodness. Okay.
Pluto in the first house. Oh my goodness. This is the reason I read the way I read, is because when I first pulled up my chart and I'm looking at it, the way I learn is through my own chart, right? Like, and then, from there, that's how I teach my students, is we learn through your chart so you can understand your soul shit so that you can bring it to other people and be like, okay. Mm-hmm. So when I started studying my chart, having this Pluto in the first house, I just like was screaming at me. Now I was like, what is this conversation? It feels really important. And my mentor actually said at one point, she was like, because I kept reading the wounding, the psychological pain points, all this like karmic stuff, she was like, it's like Pluto is using you as a conduit. Like, she's like, I believe the planet speaks through us and Pluto wants to talk through you. And I was like, 100%. So Pluto in the first is very much around these like massive transformational energies of identity. So what I say for my Plutonian first house people is you're always in a death and rebirth process. You're always starting new chapters. You're always burning it down. It's like people who have Pluto in this house don't have like, how some people just like move through life in a wave. Like they're like in one process and then they move and then they're in another one, and life just like kind of like, flows. Okay. Some people, you won't relate to that, but some people flow. Okay. Pluto in the first house, people burn shit down. It's like every couple of years, you completely burn shit down and start over. And it's like solid. The chapter closes and you open a new one. There's no flow because it's like constant transformation. You're a new person every day of the week almost, right? Your identity is constantly changing.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I literally said that before we even got on this call. Didn't I just tell you that I want to burn my life down right now?
Literally. Now I know why. And I say to my Pluto in the first house people and my Pluto in the eighth house people, I'm like, please be very careful about whether you're burning your life down because you're bored or because you actually need to transmute and transform. Because your job is literally to do that, but you also get bored and you go, okay, I'm bored now. I'm just going to blow it up. Okay. So like, that's like the like one side of it. The karmic side is like when I'm looking at Pluto in the first house, Pluto is our karmic wounding. Pluto, our whole Pluto Scorpio generation is all about reclaiming power. Okay. It's reclaiming and transmuting power. So our struggle with our generation is the desire for power and also the feeling of powerlessness. So when we look at our generation for a second, just like the millennials, for instance, we feel powerless. Most of us can't buy houses. Most of us didn't get like normal life milestones. Powerless. Okay. We feel powerless to generations ahead of us. We feel powerless to generations beneath us. We feel like the victims because everyone's like, damn millennials. Scorpio is the scapegoat. Scorpio is the transformer. Scorpio's power. It's power struggles. It's like Pluto brings up all psychological healing. And so when we're looking at Pluto, anywhere we know in Scorpio, it's like about power struggles and healing the psychological wounding. I call this the witch wound as well, because it's very much related to, witch persecution. I have theories around this Pluto Scorpio generation being like the witches reincarnate to, right? And we're so witchy.
So many of us are identifying with this like
totally
wild.
And if you think back to the actual transit of Pluto in Scorpio, it happened, from 1983 to about 1995. What was popular? Vampires. Buffy the Vampire, Sabrina the Teenage Witch, Practical Magic, all these witchy vampire werewolf things. Scorpio, right? The occult, the underworld. So we're the living embodiment of that generation. If we just look at it as in movies and shows, we are the living embodiment of that generation. And then you put it in the first house, it's like karmically, it makes me question like a loss of power of self. It also makes me question an abuse of your own magic, abuse of your own power. Is yours in retrograde? Is it not? Let's see here. Yours is direct. So I would say power struggles, not powerlessness, but that could be a theme. But most, and mine's the same, it's not in retrograde. So it makes me question, like, did you abuse your own power? Did you abuse your own magic? What power struggles happened within your sense of self? There's so many questions, and yours is at 0 degrees. So it's like, this is a start of a boiling pot for you of learning about your sacred magic.
Interesting.
Does that make sense?
I don't know. Like, okay, so abusing one's own power. So that could be like, I did a lot of self-sabotaging behaviors for sure, like in my 20s, that sort of thing. Like, is that...
Hi, I'm Maddie. Let me tell you a quick story of how I'm supporting my PCOS with Wild Remedies Spiced Chocolate Magic Latte. First of all, I'm a registered holistic nutritionist, so I'm investing in finding long-term, sustainable approaches to wellness. Living with PCOS, when things are feeling a little out of balance, it's common for me to wake up groggy, have blood sugar crashes throughout the day, or become totally overwhelmed by daily stressors. My morning coffee was causing blood sugar spikes, anxiety, and tummy trouble, so I swapped it for Wild Remedies Spiced Chocolate Magic Latte about a year ago, and believe me when I tell you that the change has been insane. Each sachet has 3 servings of wild Siberian chaga, a powerful antioxidant-rich adaptogenic mushroom that helps to fight inflammation and fatigue and regulate the immune system. It tastes like a creamy hot chocolate with just a hint of spice, and it keeps my stomach calm. Since swapping, I feel more clarity and calm throughout the day, and my morning magic latte helps to set clear intentions for the rest of my day. I save 15% on my monthly subscription at wildremedieshop.com, and at $2.50 per serving, it's saving me a ton on Starbucks runs and supplement orders. Check out the links and promos in the show notes to get your own. Your adrenals will thank you.
It can totally be related to that. And remember, like, it's always 2 octaves. So sometimes it is like, the abuse of power against you, people taking your power away, people taking your will away. And so I always ask which one feels more true. So if it's not that, it's like when you ask me about it, I'm like, oh, I have abused my power in lives previous, like 100%. Power's been abused against me as well. But like when people ask me that question, I'm like, oh, it's me 100%. Right. Like, I'm like, so when I tap into my clients, I'm like, do you feel which one is true? When you say that, it feels like it's more like that power maybe was, taken from you and your sense of self, your identity. And what can also come up with this like energy is persecution of self, or persecution for being yourself, for expressing your witchiness, for expressing, your occult beliefs or your esoteric knowledge. Who you are as an innate person was the provoker and reason for persecution.
Interesting. Yeah. A lot of the work that I've been doing recently, the healing work, has been around like this throat chakra scenario that I have. Right. And so a lot of the healers that I'm working with are like, most of them have said there's been some sort of like strangling in a past life or, a persecution, but also just in this lifetime, a lot of silencing, I think, especially as a child. Right. And so learning to use my voice and all of these things kind of coming out, having the podcast, all of these types of things are supposed to be very healing for me. But yeah, that definitely tracks for sure.
Yeah. And I love that because you do have your North Node in Gemini and the 8th house. And like the 8th house is where I find a lot of those like deep psychological or cellular remembrances of past life information. And Gemini, what's Gemini? It's the throat chakra. It's our speaking, our communication. You have your Chiron in Gemini, losing your voice. Almost everyone in my Chiron and Gemini souls, I'm like, what happened to the voice? When did you lose your voice? When did you stop speaking your truth? Who took your truth from you? Why did you stop feeling safe to speak your truth? Right. And then with your North, and it's like you're literally learning to take your power back, 8th house, from outside sources and speak your truth.
I'm here for it. It's happening.
Right there. It's right there. My God. And I love that your wound and your destiny point are connected, because Chiron is like the wounded healer, right? So when we're looking at Chiron, it's very much around what you feel as your wound is what you teach from, what you don't want the world to feel. And for you, it's literally like, that is your destiny, is to teach from the wound, heal from the wound, expand from the wound.
Okay, that's insane. Because that's literally the purpose of the podcast, right? Like everybody that I speak with are experts in things that I have done along my journey of just, 38 years of suffering with multiple health issues and,
Yeah.
so that's really cool.
Yeah. And like, that's what every time, like, it's just there, it's just right there.
Yeah. Yeah. But I mean, sometimes it takes a while to find these things. Like,
oh yeah.
Sometimes you think it's in one certain direction. Like to start the podcast wasn't even my idea. It was one of my team members and she was just like, we should do this. And I was like, okay, yeah. Yeah, okay. That's cool. And then we started it and I was like, oh my God. And then it just flowed so easily. It was just so easy to get people to come on board that were really rad. And we have, people lined up for weeks and months already. And the amount of flow that has happened is something that I've never experienced before, which is pretty wild.
That's that North Node energy, right? When you're following your North Node, life flows. When you're following those destiny points, life flows. When you go against them, life does not flow.
Interesting.
Yeah, life, that's where we like hit roadblocks and like it's not flowing when we go against our natural path.
That's interesting. And so for my North Node in particular, like it's more about the teaching and the communication, like
the teaching, the communication, but it's also like that 8th house is like deep knowledge, deep learning, it's shadow work. It's the, it's the dark, it's the underbelly, it's the hard stuff. It's the Plutonian stuff, right? The 8th house is that Scorpio energy. So it's like going into the dark. And whenever I'm working with an energy like Pluto and Gemini mixed together, so Pluto and Mercury essentially is like what is referred to as a psychopomp. And a psychopomp in Greek mythology is like, they were these birds or, flying things that were the only things that could go into the underworld. So Mercury, for instance, is the psychopomp because he was the only god that could go into the underworld and communicate with Hades. No one else could do that. So he was the deliverer of messages from the underworld. So when we're talking about Mercury and Pluto together, it's like the ability to go into the underworld, the place people don't want to go, the place people are afraid of, the darkness, and deliver messages, right? Channel from the, when we say we're channeling from above, well, what about channeling from below, right? What about channeling from shadow?
Interesting.
So that's very much when we're finding that blend together. It's like channeling from the deeper psychological, karmic, healing points rather than from the mystic, which is that 12th house energy.
Interesting. Yeah. Yeah. And that certainly does feel like a theme for me, right? It's just all of these many moments of just being brought down to the depths of like hell in a lot of circumstances.
Literally Hades, hell, underworld, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, cool. And so that's just going to happen for the rest of our lives?
Like just forever. Yeah. That's your energy.
Oh, great.
That's your natural signature. Yeah. I have my Mars in the 8th house. So like my Mars in Gemini in the 8th house. And it is, again, another psychopomp energy, right? Where like my passion and drive literally comes from the underworld. So like, that's why I'm so driven to talk about topics that are, taboo or break the mold or make people uncomfortable, is because I'm willing to go into the depths of like hell per se to heal.
Right.
Yeah.
And so, okay. So say you have like a kind of a gnarly placement like this, like what can we do in order to, help? I mean, I don't know if there's anything we can do about it, but like help transform it or, again, I mean, understanding about it really allows you to just maybe be at peace when these hard things come up. But like, what else what do you do?
Yeah. So like, this is actually one of my favorite it's really one of my favorite things to talk about. And one of the reasons I think I do what I do is because, these energies get bad raps because they're harder or they're more challenging. But really like what it is that you have so much magic. Okay. Scorpio, 8th house, Pluto is magic. It is the occult magic, is the understanding that you can transmute pain into magic, right? People who don't have necessarily hard aspects in their chart, difficult things, difficult transits. Some people just don't go through the level of depth that this energy brings in. There's nothing wrong with that, but we don't grow in those places, right? Like I like to say, we don't grow in safe spaces. So like understanding these types of energies and signatures are really the power energies, the people who have so much power behind them, so much magnetism. And it's really about understanding like how powerful you actually are and how much growth you can actually go through when you have such powerful placements, right? Like the level of growth you're going to go through is like leaps and bounds compared to some people who aren't willing to go into the depths. So it's really like learning to fall in love with Plutonian's transformational energy. It's like learning to love death almost. But we forget when we're talking about Pluto, because it gets such a bad rap as such a hard energy, that Pluto is death, but it's also rebirth, right? So it's also the phoenix. So we remember that, yeah, we have to fall in love with the death process of transformation. So like there's that like dark moon energy where it's a closing phase. Okay, 100%. But it's also the birth. It's also the process of becoming the butterfly. So like really connecting into what does that mean that I'm constantly in a state of, dying and rebirthing. It's like, that's pretty beautiful. Not easy, but beautiful, right?
Yeah.
And so you literally have the ability to do transmutation, like taking everything in your life and saying, okay, I'm going to let this die because I accept death. Right. And I don't mean physical death. I mean like the process of, a relationship dying. Like you're going to be able to be like, I understand death. So I'm going to witness this because I know rebirth comes from it. And I understand, okay, the death of this business that I'm done with. It's done what it had to do. I'm going to allow and put it to rest because I know through its, fertilizing the soil or whatever, something is going to be rebirthed. So really like tapping into with this energy is like being willing to go into the shadow, being willing to ask the hard questions, provoke the hard questions, do the shadow work, right? And look at your own personal hell and say, okay, what am I learning from this?
Yeah, that's a lot. I mean, but I feel like I'm getting a lot better at it, right? Like you get so much practice.
Yeah.
It's just like, oh, okay. So here comes that uncomfortability again,
Right? Yeah.
Yeah. And it's tough, but it is something that you can, yeah, you just get used to, especially when it's a theme that comes up so much in your life.
Totally. And like, for some people, like it will be physical death. I know many people that have had a lot of physical death in their life. They've lost a lot of loved ones. And not that it gets easier, but they say, they'll say to me, like, I've gotten relatively used to loss. And it's the same in the sense of like, when you are constantly in the death and rebirth process in your life, people say to me all the time, they're like, how are you so cool with what's going on right now? And I'm like, because this is just how it is. Like it's not, some people couldn't handle what I go through.
Yeah.
And that is totally okay. But my signature is to be able to look at it and say, okay, I'm witnessing it because I've experienced so much of it that it's not that we're numb to it. It's just that we're able to look at it objectively. It comes back to that observer, right? Objectively and say, I know something beautiful is going to come out of this. So what am I learning right now, right? It's like Scorpio is that very psychological sign. It's like, we want to know, what are we learning? What's the process? What's the mystery here? So yeah, we're going to let it die so we can be rebirthed and know what's the mystery.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think one of the biggest things that I've learned over the years is like impermanence.
Oh yeah.
As much as you are suffering at that moment, it doesn't last forever.
Never, right?
But that also goes for the beautiful things in your life.
The love, the happiness, the joy, right?
Yeah.
And like, what a beautiful teacher of being in the present moment, right? And actually enjoying your life. I mean, this happens to me so much, especially lately, where I'm just like, did I even enjoy the last month, was I even present?
Yeah.
Right. And if life is so impermanent, then what are we doing? Hustling so hard, focusing on things, focusing on the future so much, focusing on the past so much that we forget we're actually here enjoying life right now. And so impermanence teaches us like, oh, I better enjoy this moment because it's not permanent. And it also teaches us, yeah, this is a very painful moment, but it's not permanent.
Well, that was funny. I don't know if it was you that posted, I know you're posting some awesome memes, especially during, our birth
memes.
months. Yeah. But it was something about like Virgos. Oh God, what was it? Something about like how Virgos just can't enjoy being happy because they know that it's just going to like turn around. And so like, obviously this has to do with something else, but I also kind of identify with that too. Cause it's like, yeah, I really want to enjoy this moment and I'm just trying to drink it in so much. But then I have this little thing in the back of my mind being like, it's not going to last.
Totally. And like, I think that's just so human, right? To be like, to have these little like morbid thoughts, which I feel like is very Scorpio, and like also Virgo being like, we should be doing other things. But it's so true. And it is honestly the hardest work I think here on earth is being present.
Yeah.
I feel like honestly, when it comes down to everything, the hardest thing is to just be present.
Yeah. It is. It's really tough. It's funny. It's like, because we come into this incarnation forgetting so much. And that just seems to be such a thing throughout our lifetime. It's like we learn these lessons or like we read these books, and maybe it's also because of just so much information overload at this point in time as well. But I find like, one thing for me, and I always go back to this, but there's a series of books that I read years ago. It's called Conversations with God. I don't know if you've read them.
I didn't read it, but I've heard good things about it.
Oh, it's just they're so beautiful. I absolutely love Neil Donald Walsh. I used to work at a company called Mind Valley, and we did some work with him there. And when I read those books, I listened to them on Audible, which I actually highly recommend because the speakers are just very theatrical and it's wonderful. But anyway, there's just the books, essentially what they are, they're kind of channeled. Neil doesn't like to say that they are, but they essentially are. And he's basically just having a conversation with God, and he asks about any question you could ever imagine about anything, like anything. And I remember the first time I just listened to like the introduction or something, like I was just partway through the first of one of the books. I remember just like crying because I just knew that this was true. Like there was just like a deep remembering. And so there's all of these incredible lessons. And I know that I'm going to have to listen to those audiobooks over and over and over again my entire life, because like there's all of these amazing pieces of wisdom that I just completely forget about. And then I'll like listen to the book or like, or you go back to something else that you've resonated with, maybe something else that you've read. And you're like, why am I not incorporating this into my life? Like you do it for a little bit and then we just said, forget.
It's so true.
It's just like,
so true.
Yeah, it's tough.
I know we're just so busy and we're so distracted, and I know it's true. It's true.
Yeah, that's definitely a big part of it as well. And I really admire people that can be very regimented or just like pick up a piece of information and be like, this is now my everyday forever.
Oh, me too. Oh, for sure. My sixth house is ruled by Aries. So like routine is, as people say, Virgo's routine, No. My Virgo, your Virgo is in the 11th house. No. There's no routine over here. And, sixth house Aries. No, there's no routine. I'm sorry.
Interesting. Okay. Yeah. That's kind of good to know. Cause it's like, I don't know, just the little bit that I know about human design we were talking about on the last podcast episode, but I'm a manifesting generator. And so understanding that was really helpful for me because I do these things where I like pick shit up and I put it down and I have all these hobbies and like this thing now is like my new favorite thing in the whole entire world. And I love it. And I'm going to do it forever. And then I'm like bored with it in like 3 months. And it's just like, what the fuck?
I know. Over the place. I'm a manifester and like learning that like, I move in these giant waves, and like, I'm also an emotional manifester. So like I have, like, I'm operating from like these massive, like highs and lows. And like, I don't stick with things. I'm meant to like change things all the time because like I'm supposed to be this big like leader. And like, I like when I'm learning that, I'm like, okay, so it's okay that I just drop things. Like it's okay that I have to just like step into the next thing because that's actually just my signature. Okay. Permission granted.
It helps.
It
Those
does.
permission slips really help.
They really do. They really do.
Yeah, because I think as Virgos too, like we kind of beat ourselves up about some things.
For
sometimes.
sure. For sure. And my human design girl, her name is Jessica Rose. She's amazing. And she says it literally like that. She's like, I'm going to give you this permission slip. And I'm like, thanks, because I need it.
It really does help. I don't know. I find that learning more about yourself and having other people be able to like translate things and see you, or at least be able to like have a conversation about, you know, stuff that you've observed your whole life and then be like, oh yeah, no, that's actually how you're just built and how you should be. And you're just like, oh my God, okay. Like I thought I was broken. I thought there was something wrong with me. Like we just do that naturally. Right. And then understand that like, oh, this is actually how I operate. And I can actually make improvements in my life by following certain directions. Like it's just wildly helpful.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Well, how do you work with people normally? Like how do you help people through astrology?
Yeah. So there's a couple different ways. I mean, just going into a reading with me is usually how people start. So I do past life and purpose readings. I do wild woman readings. Those ones are more focused on like our Lilith energies and, you know, our divine feminine, the wounding around the feminine, whereas the past life obviously is everything we've kind of talked about today, and the purpose goes into that. Also, like I have cosmic coaching sessions, which is like 2 hours of getting into the nitty gritty of anything you bring to the table. We're going to look at your chart, look at your transits and be like, okay, what the hell's going on? Why are you feeling this? And like, let's get you some actual tools to, you know, go through this process. As well as I'm opening up actually right now it's karmic certification to learn past life astrology with me, which is a 8-week massive overload of information, but it's so much fun. So that's open right now. And then, you know, I do workshops pretty frequently on different energies. And I do have my membership as well, which is all about the dark moon. So literally it's like a monthly energetic detox that we do. Every single month we go into a different energy and just like purge and clear and cut cords and, you know, move shit out of our bodies and our energy fields. So those are, the ways right now to work with me.
Amazing. And you have a podcast as well, don't you?
I do have a podcast, which is mostly focused on just like, I mean, it gets all over the place sometimes, but yeah, past lives, karma, astrology, esoteric wisdom, protection, like psychic protection. I love getting into all that good stuff too. But yeah, my podcast it's a good time.
Oh my God. Yay. I love it. I've been listening to it. It's so good.
Ooh, thank you.
Anybody listening, you need to subscribe.
I love it. Thank you.
Oh, man. Okay. And I found this quote on your Instagram that I absolutely loved, and I just want to read it. But it says, the ultimate rebellion is healing your body, learning your astrological signature, healing your trauma, and becoming a sovereign being in a world that has programmed you to be a slave. And I'm just like, fuck yeah to all of that, sister.
Right?
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. That's like, and you would resonate too. That's like my Virgo 11th house. So my Virgo Aquarius mix coming through of like, I'm here to help people break the matrix and find their power again. But I'm here to do it through the body. And Virgo, I don't know, for most people, they kind of get a misleading version of what Virgo is. Virgo is the virgin. A virgin actually means, in like the literal translation from Latin or Greek, I think it's Greek actually, is a woman unto herself. So like no one owns her. Nothing owns her. She is sovereign, right? A virgin has actually nothing to do with sexuality at all. It's a sovereign woman or being. And so when we look at it like that, it's like, yeah, the ultimate sovereignty is, you know, our bodies, our souls, our minds, and like breaking free of the matrix.
Oh, wow. Okay. Yeah. I feel exceptionally connected and aligned to all of that as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm all about breaking free from systems right now. And well, I mean, I always have been and I always will be. I think it's just incredibly important.
So, oh my gosh, well, we're pretty much at time now.
Yeah.
But thank you so much for sharing all of this amazing wisdom. We're going to have all of your links in the show notes so people can get in touch with you, because I know they're definitely going to want to. I definitely want to book a session with you after this, because this is so insightful. Thank you so much, Vika, for being here. And yeah, I'd love to have you on again at some point and chat about some other things too.
I would love to. Thank you for having me. It was a pleasure.
Thanks again. Have a great evening. Thanks so much for sharing your time and energy with us today. We'd love to hear your feedback on how our podcast has impacted your life, and are also open to suggestions for new and interesting topics. Please leave your comments with a quick review to help us grow this magical community of wellness warriors and light workers. Every month, we select one lucky reviewer to win our big magic box containing all 3 of our beautiful magic lattes. To connect with us further, check us out on Instagram at wild_remedies. Thank you again, and see you at the next episode.